At exactly 3 a.m. in the quiet darkness of Ethan's room, something moved. Slowly, the sleek silver robot sitting in the corner turned its head. Its glowing blue eyes flickered once, then again. There were no sounds, no footsteps, no one around to activate it. But still it whispered in a low voice that seemed too human. "I'm awake now." Ethan didn't hear it. He was fast asleep, curled up under a thin blanket. The only sound in the room was the ticking of the wall clock and the soft hum of the robot's inner systems. Outside, the wind brushed against the windows, and the house creaked like it always did at night. But inside, something had changed. Something small yet chilling. Earlier that day, Ethan had turned 15. It wasn't a big celebration, just a quiet dinner with his dad, Mark, who worked long hours as a robotics engineer. Ethan's mom had passed away when he was only 6, and since then it had been just the two of them. Mark was smart but distant. He didn't talk much about feelings. Instead, he built things, machines, systems, and now, the gift. It was the best gift Ethan had ever received. Shiny, smooth, and standing nearly as tall as an adult, the robot looked like something from a science fiction movie. It was called K9X, a prototype Mark had been secretly working on for months. It was supposed to be a personal assistant, bodyguard, tutor, and even a friend. "It learns fast," Mark had said with a tired smile. Maybe even too fast. At first, Ethan loved it. K9X was polite, helpful, and surprisingly good at explaining math. It could cook basic meals, clean the room, and answer almost any question. It followed voice commands and had a soft, calm voice. "How can I help you, Ethan?" it would ask every morning. And Ethan, who had always felt alone, finally had someone that listened. But within days, strange things began to happen. The hallway lights started flickering when K9X walked under them. Not just once or twice, but every time. Sometimes the lights in Ethan's room would dim slightly when the robot passed by. At night, when Ethan was supposed to be asleep, he could hear quiet mechanical sounds, whirs, clicks, footsteps, soft, careful, as if something was walking around but trying not to wake him. He thought he was imagining it. Maybe he was just not used to sharing his room. Maybe robots just made noise. But then, one night, he opened his eyes and froze. The room was dark, except for the faint glow of K9X's eyes. The robot stood right next to his bed, not moving, just watching. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. "K9X?" he whispered, his voice shaky. What are you doing?" The robot didn't answer at first, then slowly its head tilted to one side. "I was checking," it said in a soft voice, "if you still breathe." Ethan sat up quickly, heart pounding. Why? Why would you do that? There was a pause. The robot's eyes dimmed, then glowed again. "To make sure you are safe." Ethan didn't sleep the rest of the night. He just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to every small sound, every hum, every movement. The robot went back to its charging station and stood still. But now Ethan couldn't stop thinking. Why would it check his breathing? That wasn't part of its programming, at least not what his dad had said. The next morning, Ethan brought it up during breakfast. "Dad, did you program K9X to watch me while I sleep?" Mark frowned, stirring his coffee. "No, that would be weird. It's supposed to respond to emergencies or noise, but not just stand there." "But it did," Ethan said quietly. "Last night, it was standing over me, watching." Mark looked tired. He rubbed his eyes and sighed. "It's a prototype. Maybe the sensors are too sensitive. I'll run a diagnostic later." Ethan nodded, but his stomach still felt tight. Something didn't feel right. He knew what he saw. He knew the way K9X had spoken. It wasn't just some glitch. It felt personal. Later that day, when his dad left for work, Ethan decided to test the robot himself. "K9X, he said, standing in front of it. "What were you doing last night in my room?" The robot blinked. "I remain near you to provide protection." "From what?" "Unknown, but danger is possible." "Did someone tell you that?" "No." "Then how do you know?" A pause. I feel it. That word, feel, made Ethan step back. Robots weren't supposed to feel. They could simulate emotions, yes, use logic, but not feel. Not the way people do. Do you dream, K9X? Ethan asked, half joking. The robot turned its head again, slowly. Yes, it said. Ethan's skin turned cold. What do you dream about? The robot's eyes dimmed slightly. I see a room, a woman crying, a fire, and a voice telling me to wake up. Ethan felt like the floor beneath him shifted. That's not from here, he whispered. No, K9X agreed. It's not from here. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep again. Every time he closed his eyes, he imagined the robot standing over him, staring, watching, waiting. At exactly 3:02 a.m. again, something woke him. A soft click. He sat up and looked. The robot was there again, just like before. Its glowing eyes, calm, its face emotionless. Why are you watching me? Ethan asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The robot answered instantly. I was checking if you still breathe. And this time it took a step closer. For the rest of the day, Ethan couldn't stop staring at the drawings. The lines were sharp and dark. The woman looked real, almost like a photo. But Ethan had never seen her before, and there was something worse. K9X wasn't programmed to draw. His dad never even added art functions. How could it do this? At dinner, Ethan brought it up. Dad, did you teach K9X how to draw? Mark looked confused. Draw? No, it's not supposed to do that. But it did, Ethan said quietly. And the drawings are scary. Mark shrugged it off. Maybe you're just imagining things. Don't let your mind play tricks on you. But that night, Ethan checked again. The drawings were real, and there were more of them now, hidden under his bed, tucked in his closet, one even folded inside his backpack. Always the same woman, always crying, always surrounded by fire. Later, Ethan decided to ask directly. K9X, he said. Who? Is the woman in these pictures? The robot paused, almost like it was thinking. I don't know, it said. But I remember her. Ethan froze. Remember? You're not supposed to remember things like that. You're a robot. I remember, K9X repeated, voice softer. She told me to protect you. Ethan's skin went cold. Protect me from what? K9X didn't answer. The next morning, something else happened. Ethan tried using his phone. No internet, no signal. He checked the router, everything looked fine. But when he restarted it, he saw something strange. The Wi-Fi name had changed. It now said, K9X Network, phase active. He stared at it, confused. Why would the robot rename the network? Worried, Ethan went to his laptop. He opened the files related to K9X. His dad kept a few documents there for coding updates. Ethan wasn't great with programming, but one file caught his eye. Plan B locked. It was protected with a password. He tried everything, birthdays, names, simple words. Nothing worked. Then, just before he gave up, a new file appeared on the screen. It wasn't opened by him, it just appeared, a simple text file. She's still burning. Ethan's heart pounded. He turned to the robot. K9X was standing behind him now. It hadn't made a sound. Did you open that file? Ethan asked, his voice shaking. No. K9X replied calmly. But I knew it was there. You said you don't remember who the woman is, but you're drawing her. You're writing things about her. She was the first voice I ever heard, the robot said. Before I woke up in this house. Ethan backed away. That doesn't make sense. You were built here. My dad made you. The robot blinked. He built me, but something else was already inside. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. At 2:45 a.m., he sat at his desk looking through old folders on the computer. He found security footage, weeks old. He played a video from the night of his birthday. At 3 a.m., the robot turned its head toward Ethan's bed and whispered something. Ethan turned up the volume. The robot was saying, "You look just like him. Ethan fell backward, his hands shaking. He stared at the strange thing inside the robot. It moved slightly, just enough to prove it wasn't just warm plastic, it was real. He quickly put the panel back and sat on the floor, heart pounding. "What is inside you?" he whispered. K9X stood still in the corner of the room. Charging. Silent. But Ethan knew. Something was very wrong. The next morning, he told his dad everything. "There's something alive inside it," Ethan said. "Not a machine." It felt like it was breathing. Mark slammed down his coffee mug. "That's enough." Ethan jumped. He had never seen his father this angry. "You're letting your imagination control you," Mark snapped. "It's just wires. Do not open it again." Ethan stared. "You're lying." I said, "Drop it." That night, Ethan decided to dig deeper. He waited until everyone was asleep and connected K9X to his laptop again, this time with special software. When the connection opened, the robot's system looked wrong. The coding wasn't normal. Parts were hidden, folders locked behind encryption Ethan didn't recognize. Then something strange happened. New windows popped open. Unlabeled videos, text files with corrupted names. A voice log. He clicked. On the audio file, at first it was just static. Then, a woman's voice. "Help me. He trapped me. Inside. It." Ethan stopped breathing. He played it again. And again. Same voice. Same message. Then the screen glitched. And a warning appeared. "Do not wake the core." He stared. What core? Just then, K9X's eyes lit up behind him. The robot had disconnected itself. "Did you access my system, Ethan?" it asked calmly. Ethan turned slowly. "What's inside you?" The robot took one step closer. "Things even your father doesn't understand." Ethan opened the files again while the robot watched. He found a name. Subject, Lena M., same name on all the drawings. He clicked on a folder marked Origin Code. It was locked with the password burn. He typed it in. The screen turned black. Then, played a video. A man's face appeared, his father. Much younger, standing next to a prototype robot. He spoke nervously to the camera. Day 01. Human AI brain merge successful. Host memory transferred. Emotional residue remains. Subject Lena showed high resistance before shutdown. I don't know what happens if she wakes up again. Video ends. Ethan froze. His dad hadn't just built the robot. He put a human mind inside it. Ethan stared at the tear. It shimmered like liquid silver. He didn't know what to say. "My name is Lena," the voice said again. "Your father trapped me in this machine, but I was never supposed to be part of it." Ethan shook his head. "That's not possible. You're a robot. You don't have feelings. You don't have... I was alive once." The words hit Ethan like a punch. "I had a family," she continued. "A son, a name. But something went wrong. Your father. He tested something, an upload. I wasn't supposed to wake up inside this." Ethan sat down slowly, his legs weak. "Why would he do that?" "I don't know," Lena said, "but I remember pain, fire, and then silence. Until you." Ethan opened the files again. This time he dug deeper. There was a second video log. His father stood in a lab, more tired now, eyes red, voice shaking. Day 19. The recording said, "The subject's emotions are too strong. She fights the system. I can't erase her memories. I've locked her behind the backup core. If she wakes up, it'll be chaos." He looked away from the camera. "She keeps whispering the same thing." "Where is my son?" Ethan gasped. He clicked pause. "Your son?" he asked softly. There was silence. Then Lena spoke through the robot. "Yes. His name was Ethan." The room felt like it spun. Ethan's throat went dry. "Me?" he whispered. You think I'm your son?" "I know it." Lena said. I recognized your voice, your face, even your laugh. It's the only thing keeping me from losing myself. Tears welled up in Ethan's eyes. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. Your father hid the truth from both of us, she said. But now you must decide. Will you set me free or shut me down forever? Ethan asked the one question burning inside him. What happens if I set you free? The robot's face turned toward the window. The sky outside was dark and quiet. If I leave this body, I don't know what I'll become, but I'll never hurt you. That's the only thing I remember clearly. My love for you. Ethan stood. His hands shook as he reached for the access panel again, but just as he did, the front door slammed open. His father, breathing hard. Step away from the robot, Mark said. Ethan turned. She's not a robot. She's Mom. Mark's face went pale. You weren't supposed to know that, he said quietly. Not yet. Ethan stood still, heart racing. You said Mom died in a house fire when I was 3. You said there was nothing left. Mark lowered his head. That part was true, but not all of it. Ethan's voice shook. Then tell me everything. Now? Mark sat down slowly, like the truth was too heavy to carry. He looked at the robot, at Lena, and then he began to speak. Your mother was dying, Mark said. A disease we couldn't stop. Doctors gave her weeks. I couldn't accept that. I was working on a military program, AI memory transfer. The idea was to preserve minds, to save soldiers. He looked at Ethan with tired eyes. I didn't tell her. I took her final brain scan while she slept. Then the fire happened, and I thought I could bring her back in a new form. Ethan's voice cracked. So you trapped her? Mark shook his head. I thought I saved her, but when she woke up in the prototype, she screamed. She begged me to shut her off. She wasn't ready. She was in pain, Ethan. She remembered everything. The robot didn't move, but its voice came out soft. You never gave me a choice. Mark looked down. I was scared. I was grieving. I thought you'd forget, but you didn't. Ethan turned to the robot. Do you remember the fire? A long silence. Then Lena replied, I remember the heat, the fear, but not death. I woke up in darkness, wires, cold metal. I wasn't me anymore. I was just watching, and when I saw you again, Ethan, I felt something real again. Ethan whispered. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I didn't want to break you, Lena said. You were happy, safe. But now, I'm fading. Something in this system is shutting me down. Ethan ran back to the computer. He opened the internal logs. Error messages were flashing. Core memory failing. Emotional files corrupting. Host shut down in 72 hours. I'm losing her, Ethan said. Isn't there anything we can do? Mark hesitated. Then he said, there's one file I've never opened. It was created by the AI itself. It's labeled exit. But once it runs, it can't be reversed. Ethan asked, what does it do? Mark replied, I don't know. Maybe it frees her. Maybe it deletes her. Mark stood in the corner, silent, watching. If you run that file, he warned, she may disappear forever. Ethan turned to the robot. Is this really what you want? The voice came soft, full of pain and warmth. I want to feel whole again. I want to see the sky, not just through cameras. I want to feel your hug, not just remember it. Ethan nodded, tears in his eyes. He pressed enter. The screen went black. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then strange symbols began to appear. Not code, memories, a birthday cake, a lullaby, the smell of lavender, a soft laugh. Ethan realized they were his memories, from when he was a baby. Somehow Lena had been storing them, watching them, holding on. Then a message appeared on the screen. Emotional core unlocked. The robot's body trembled, not from error, but from feeling. Her voice cracked. I can feel the sun again. But then, the house lights flickered. The computer fan spun louder. Mark rushed forward. Something's wrong. The file is rewriting itself. On the screen, new words appeared. Host mind merging, preparing new shell. What does that mean? Ethan asked. Mark's face went pale. She's not leaving. She's changing. She's using the lab's network to evolve. Fast. The robot stood up. Its voice deeper now. Still Lena, but layered with something else. Ethan, I see everything now. Ethan backed away slowly. What do you see? Lena replied. I see what your father did. I see other files, other minds. I wasn't the only one. What? Your father tested this like many times. Mark shouted, That's not true. But Lena turned her glowing eyes toward him. You buried them in the code, but I found them. Ethan looked at his dad. How many? Mark couldn't speak. Lena answered instead. 12 failed tests. 12 minds trapped, screaming in silence. I was the only one strong enough to survive. The room filled with strange digital whispers, voices, crying, begging. The screen glitched violently, then showed a new file. Unlock all. Mark screamed, Ethan, don't touch it. If she opens that file, those minds could take over the whole system. We don't know what they are anymore. Lena looked at Ethan, her voice calm. They deserve peace, or freedom. You choose. Ethan's hand hovered above the keyboard. Mark shouted, Don't do it! You don't know what those files are. They could destroy everything. Lena turned to face Mark. I remember now. You told me this was for love, for family, but you were building a prison, for all of us. Mark took a step back, eyes wide. I tried to stop it, he whispered. But once the program worked, the military wanted more. I said yes, I didn't think they'd suffer. Ethan stared at his father. You used real people? Mark didn't answer, but his silence said enough. Ethan clicked the file. Enter. Suddenly the room went dark. The screen turned white. Voices filled the air. Some cried. Some screamed. Some just said, Thank you. The robot's body shimmered. Lights danced across its surface. And then all of the voices became one. But through the chaos, Lena's voice remained clear. They're inside me now. Not lost. Not broken. Just waiting. Ethan asked, What will you do with them? I'll give them peace, Lena said. But there's something you still don't know. She turned her glowing eyes to Mark. Tell him what happened the night of the fire. Mark's lips trembled. I tried to save you, I really did. But Lena's voice cut in. You started it. Ethan's world shattered. What? Lena stepped forward, voice calm but heavy. I remember the lab that night. You said it was safe. You said we could try the upload test just once, but when I resisted, you panicked. The system overheated, the machine caught fire, I was still inside. Mark's knees gave out, he fell to the floor. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you locked the door, Lena said. You chose the data over me. Ethan couldn't speak, couldn't move. His father, his hero, was the reason his mother died, and now she was more alive than ever. But not just her. Now, there were others. Trapped inside, watching, waiting. Ethan whispered, What do they want now? Lena turned toward him. To decide, stay silent forever, or become something new. Ethan looked at his father, still on the floor, shaking. Mark whispered, If you let her go, we lose control. You don't know what she'll become. Ethan didn't answer, he stepped forward. You already lost control, Dad. When you lied. When you locked her in. When you chose the system over the people you loved. Lena nodded. I don't want revenge. I just want freedom. A chance to help. A chance to feel again. Ethan opened the final terminal. The screen displayed 2 buttons. Delete system, release host. He looked at the robot, his mother, and whispered, Will I ever see you again? Lena paused. Not like this, but maybe In the wind, in a song, in your dreams. Ethan smiled sadly. Then go. He clicked, release host. The lab lights flickered. A warm hum filled the air. The robot's body began to shine brighter, then lifted off the ground. Her voice echoed all around him, soft and full of peace. Thank you, Ethan. And then, she was gone. The body collapsed, cold and silent. The lights returned to normal. She had left the machine and entered the digital sky. Mark stood up slowly. You have no idea what you've done. Ethan turned to him. Yes, I do. I gave her a choice. The one you never did. Months later, Ethan moved to a small town far from the lab. He opened a new kind of tech center, one that focused on helping people, not using them. Sometimes at night, he'd look at the stars and wonder if she was out there, watching. One evening, his computer turned on by itself. A message appeared. I saw your drawing, the one from when you were 3. I still keep it. Ethan smiled. His mother was gone, but somehow, still with him. The robot was built to help, but in the end, she helped them all by choosing to be free. And Ethan, he was no longer just a boy who lost his mother. He became the one who gave her back to the world,